Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 229 of the Civil Gore podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. And Tim, I hope you're got your bags packed because we're gonna get in the car and talk about what we saw on our dash cam.
That's right. Yeah, I was really looking forward to this one. Obviously, the follow up to Host.
Yeah, it's kind of I kind of almost like consider it like a spiritual sequel in a way, you know, because it's got the, of course, the found footage-y aspect to it. And you know, of course, we'll go into a little more detail, but I like it because he did, you know, this time now he had no pandemic restrictions per se, other than, you know, obviously the rules that he probably had to follow filming it, but other than that, he had free reign, and now you get to see what Rob Savage can do with a found footage movie where he's not confined to people's houses.
Yes. All right. Well, before we get to that, let's get to our first chop. All right, Brian. Well, I did have a chance to watch quite a few things over the break here between shows. And the first one up is I was trying to kind of catch up on my Joe Bob. I've actually got a spreadsheet. This is how nerdy I am. I've got a spreadsheet of Joe Bob Last Drive-In episodes that I haven't seen, or else I've seen the movie, but I didn't watch like the interstitials. And then I've got those broken down to like, okay, what Joe Bob episodes do I need to watch everything, movie and interstitials? What Joe Bob episodes do I just need to watch the interstitials because I've already seen the movie? And I've got them all color-coded. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so I'm going back and I'm catching up because there's a lot that I missed because I'm old. I can't stay up anymore to watch at least I could usually watch the first movie. Yeah. The second movie, I mean, you're getting out there about 1 o'clock. I just can't do it anymore. So I'm going back. I'm really got a big backlog of Joe Bob to watch, but I'm really enjoying it because I'm getting to watch these movies that I had not seen that I missed the first time around. So I got to watch Society, which is that old one. That was a crazy movie. That one's about a guy. Well, I don't know if I even know how to describe this.
Yeah, that's a hard one to describe in brief detail.
Basically, a kid who begins to suspect that his parents are involved in some kind of weird sex orgy thing. And it just gets more and more bizarre from there with an ending that just has to be seen to be believed. So I highly recommend that with the caveat that it's pretty far out there.
The 2 Chainz caveat?
Yeah. But great, I mean, fantastic special effects, though. Fantastic. It's worth watching just for the practical effects alone. And then the second one I watched, which I really enjoyed, was DEATHGASM.
Yeah,
and
that's a fun one.
That one came out fairly, I think, 2015. And that one reminded me of kind of like a heavy metal Shaun of the Dead. You have this kid who's kind of picked on, kind of an outcast. He's a metalhead. He teams up with this other metalhead guy and a couple other guys to form a band, and they end up finding this music that basically sort of kind of an Evil Dead style. This music produces demons, and they end up having to fight demons. It's almost kind of like you could substitute zombies for demons, basically. It's very Evil Dead influenced, very Shaun of the Dead influenced. So I wouldn't say it's like totally original, but it's so much fun. The characters are so likable and great in it. The effects are just ridiculous over the top. The kills are completely over the top. Highly recommend DEATHGASM if you haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, that was a good one. I didn't get to watch too much. I was, as you know, I'm also a big New York Rangers fan, and that time has now sadly come to the end as they lost in the conference finals. So, you know, I would like to be the bigger man and say congrats to the Tampa Bay Lightning, but I will not.
At least you have beer coming for it, though. I mean, you get some free beer.
I do, yes, but you know, that was more of a, you know, I wanted them to go past and make it to the cup, but maybe next year. But yeah, and I really despise Florida, so the fact that it was a Florida team won made it even all the worse. But anyway, so I didn't get to watch much, but I did finally finish. I did briefly touched on it, I think, during our dismemberment. And or did I talk about it last week? I can't remember, but I don't know if I had. You
talked about it last week because we were talking about the books we had read.
But and I finished it, right?
Yeah.
I had finished it.
I
Or I
think
think I might have.
You had like a couple chapters
pages
left. Yeah.
Yeah. So I finished it completely now. But I tell you though, that I can. Oh yeah, that's right. You mentioned the audio version, but I cannot recommend the book more right now. It's such an amazing book. If for all fans of her, I mean, literally, if you loved her already, you were gonna love her like 1,000 times more with this book. So I highly, of course, it's yours truly, Elvira. I highly recommend it. Highest recommended. I'm not a book person, as you know. Tim's more the book person, but when I do find a book that I like, I will talk to the ends of the earth about it, and that's what I will with this. But great, amazing stories. The amount of people that she knows or has met through her life will just astound you. Some of the people she's interacted with, and not just like a walk by, like, oh hey, like level, but like a real interaction. And the way she kind of reveals it is kind of funny. Like she kind of tells the story first and then reveals who it was. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, so definitely check that book out. I know, Tim, you're in the middle of the audio version. So.
Yeah, the audio version is really good, obviously, because she narrates it. So she's, obviously she knows how to narrate her own writing. So she's got that trademark kind of Elvira humor going on.
I read it in her voice. Yeah, in my head. So.
Yeah, you have to. But like hearing her do it is like even better, because even though Elvira is a character, when she's reading the book, she's reading it basically in the Elvira character voice.
Nice. I almost want to get the audiobook and like listen to it again now that you said how good it is.
Yeah. So I guess it's time for my TUBI trap, Brian.
Poor Tim.
Okay, so Brian unleashed on me I guess you could call it an Easter themed horror.
Yeah.
This is ROTTENTAIL from 2018. To give it some level of legitimacy, it's based on a graphic novel, but the graphic novel was written by the people who made the movie, so I don't know how much legitimacy it actually adds. ROTTENTAIL is about this is ridiculous. So I'm going to go ahead and like preface this by saying this is basically on the level of what I would consider maybe Charles Band Full Moon level, but not as good.
I was gonna say, because Charles Band Full Moon level is very enjoyable usually.
Yes. Yeah. So put it on that level, but don't make it as enjoyable.
Take away all the
take out the joy.
Band.
Yeah. But I'm just kind of give you the idea of like the level you're looking for and the tone. The difference is, the humor in this one is just tended to be grating and irritating, whereas the humor in the Full Moon movies, I think, always has like a certain amount of charm. Even when it's goofy, there's a certain amount of charm to it. This one, everything in it was irritating, but it's got it's actually got one big name. It's got Dominique Swain in it, who you probably know from Lolita back in 1997, the Jeremy Irons version of Lolita. I think that was probably her most famous role.
Wait, you said one big name. It's got Cora Nemec from Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Did you forget him?
Well, I've never watched Parker Lewis Can't Lose, but I mean, one movie star. But I was looking up her because I was like, whatever happened to her? She I never saw her in another movie, I don't think. And I went and looked at IMDb. She's been working steadily since then. Her first film was Face Off, and then she did Lolita, and then she has been working like literally every year. Like she's pulling a Nicolas Cage. She's been in movies almost every single year since then, which I was shocked.
Yeah, she was in one of the. I know she's where she makes an appearance usually in my life is during the horror challenge. I always seem to find a movie where she has a role in one of the horror challenge things. She always seems to make an. What was the last one I watched with her? And I think it was last year's or 2 years ago, the horror challenge. Well, she was in Shark and Soul Women's Massacre, Prison Massacre. So Jeff Whitmire's seen that one.
Yeah.
It's in there, but what the heck was it? It was like rave. It was about a rave or something. Trance. That was it. It was this vampires in a rave. Trance was the one I watched for the horror challenge that she was in. So she like Tim's right though. Literally, you look at her. I mean, she does like 5-6 movies a year.
Yeah, I mean, God bless her for working. That's awesome. I mean, that's cool if you can do that. But anyway, so I didn't realize she was in that many movies. But how she got, I guess now that you've said she was in Shark and Saw Women's Massacre or whatever, now I understand how she got in this movie. Apparently the standards aren't super high. But so it's about this scientist named Peter Cotton. I'm not making this up.
Well, that's impressive, though. I mean, that's clever,
Who lives in the town of Easter Falls, and who is obsessed with bunnies. of course. And when he was a kid, his a bully like killed his favorite pet bunny. Well, he grew up. He starts doing experiments on rabbit penises because he's trying to make like a drug that will allow people to have sex longer. So he's like taking.
So they could screw like bunnies.
Yeah, yeah,
that's where this is going. Am I picking up, as Ket would say? Am I picking up what you're dropping down?
Exactly. Yeah. So he ends up getting, now this guy, again, God bless him. He gives this role 150%.
Wow.
That it deserves maybe max 10%, but he's giving it 150. And he's modeling this. It's so like Herbert West Reanimator. He's so channeling Jeffrey Combs in this. He's got the glasses, the nerd look. I mean, a little more like wacky than Jeffrey Combs was. But so he's doing these experiments. There's this like mutated bunny, like monstrous bunny that's played by like a puppet, which is kind of actually cool because of the practical effects. I'll give them that. It was kind of cool, even though it was goofy. And they even had the Reanimator like green glowing syringes. I mean, down to that level. So you could tell they were really big Reanimator fans. Anyway, he gets bitten by this bunny, which causes him to turn into ROTTENTAIL, which is a half man, half bunny rabbit. And it doesn't look anything like the ROTTENTAIL on the box cover, so don't get excited. It looks like a guy like in a mask.
Oh, that stinks, because actually the ROTTENTAIL in the box made it look like this might be kind of fun.
Yeah, no, it's not. But the ROTTENTAIL talks like basically like a bad impression of Beetlejuice.
Oh no!
So it's sort of like I'm ROTTENTAIL. Yeah, get out of here. You better give me some of your carrots. I mean, it's like that the whole time, and it's like so irritating. It's like not good Beetlejuice. Like the guy that did Beetlejuice when we went to Universal for the Monster Makeup Show was like 1,000 times better than this guy doing Beetlejuice. Which I know he's not trying to do Beetlejuice, but it just gives off that impression. And so it's exactly what you would expect. He turns into ROTTENTAIL. He goes on a rampage. He's trying to get back at the bullies. He's going to his high school reunion to get back at all the people. And it's an hour and 46 minutes, which is long for a TUBI TRAP movie, as we were discussing right before we started recording.
Yeah,
that
should be no longer than an hour and 15 minutes. Should be tops,
90 minutes is stretching, and when you're going 15 minutes past that, I mean, this is painful. So yeah, I'm sorry, Dominic Swain. I'm sorry, everybody involved in this. Yeah, I mean, credit for 110% for the performances, like people were giving it their all, and credit for at least trying to make something maybe a little fun that's Easter connected. But yeah, this one didn't do it for me. The humor just wasn't there for me in this one, so I can't say that I completely enjoyed this one.
I'm sorry, Tim. Well, you got it. I'm sure you can get your revenge now, and you could pick me one.
It was
for this
still
week.
well. It was I'll have to say it was 1,000 times better than Zillafoot. So it was a step
from
up.
what you told me at Zillafoot. That, I mean, you could have literally probably took pieces of another movie and threw it on the screen and be better than Zillafoot.
Yeah.
Right?
So I mean, you at least gave me a little bit of a step up. So I'm not too upset. So yeah, I'll have to get back to you with your pick soon.
Yeah, I'd love to see this one. So I guess before we get into the movie, we just of course want to do a big shout out, because our good friends Kim and Ket, they have hit a major milestone, and they have hit their 200th episode. Which is, as you know, any podcaster can tell you, 200 episodes. It may not seem like a lot if you just say, 200. It is a lot, because a lot goes into every episode. And their episodes are sometimes like 2.5 hours.
Well, let's do the math on this, Brian. So
yeah.
Let's say our average podcast length, let's be conservative, let's just say it's an hour. It's going to be
right. Average
is going to be longer than that, because our episodes used to run quite long. So let's just say an hour.
Right.
That's 200 episodes. And we're not even talking, like, in our case, we've got way more than 200 because we've got dismemberments and bonus episodes. But let's say that's 200 hours of just show.
Yeah.
Now, for each hour is probably, again, I'm being conservative, is probably at least an hour of editing. It's actually longer than that, but let's just say it's an hour of editing. Now you're doubling it. Now you're at 400 hours. Now take that 400 hours. That's not counting the time it takes to watch the movies.
Yep.
So let's say we do a 2-hour movie for each episode. That's now 800 hours.
I feel like, Tim, you're like that meme of Charlie Day, with all the scrambled math behind him from
yeah, I'm
Pacific Rim.
I'm trying to do math on the fly while drinking beer, so that's not going to end well. But yeah, 800 hours. So that's just 800 hours, and that's being minimum conservative. It's probably it could easily be even double that probably.
Yeah. And they watch the movie sometimes twice. I know because they mention that. So yeah.
So I mean, that's a lot of. It's not just 200 episodes. It's an extreme amount of hours they're putting.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's so good about, I mean, their episodes, they're obviously, we're both horror podcasts, we have a different podcast from them. They definitely are way more, they put more of themselves into it. A real, they're so open and honest about their lives, about, so they manage to hit the perfect mark every time of entertainment, information, they share themselves in a very special way that connects them with their audiences. And I think, and their friendship that they have together is completely infectious. It's like, you just feel like they always make you feel like you're part of it. And so it's like we knew right away from episode 1 that they had something special, instantly, there was no even question about it. You'll listen to some podcasts, you're like, I gotta listen to a couple more. Within 10 minutes, we kind of knew that, I'm like, okay, this is something special. And, and what's great is over the years, we've actually not only just became we started off as little pod friends, but now we're really friends with them. We talk to them through social media. We always try and help them out on their, anytime they have a live event, we try and represent it. So they have, and they're just really two just really special ladies that I'm glad we got to know. And what they did is they did something really cool. So they, with their comedy in the podcast is legendary, to the point where
the difference is they have actual comedy where we just do lame attempts at comedy.
Yeah, we just try. But and they, it's so natural for them too, which is great. But so they decided to come out with for their 200th is a Sammy's award show. And let me tell you, we were so blown away and honored that they had us, they reached out to us, and we were actually guest presenters for the best word salad category, which lately, as I'm hitting 50, I know now I feel like everything I say is word salad. I can never think of the right words anymore. But yeah, and it was, so we felt so honored, and we were there with when we heard the final show which came out today. When you're listening to this, it's Wednesday, but you're hearing this Monday, so last Wednesday when you hear this, it had dropped, and so we got to hear it. We were in some pretty exciting company that was in there. I mean, Devon Sawa was a guest presenter, so now we always have that as to take a line from Kim and Kat, our resume. We can always say we presented an award show that featured Devon Sawa.
We're 1 degree from Devon Sawa now,
right? We are. We were in the same, within minutes, minutes apart. We could say from part of the show with him. But yeah, and I'll tell you, Eric, who of course Kat's husband, does the producing of this, and he put together, I mean, literally, I posted this in their Facebook, but awards shows should take notes on how well he did this, because this thing was brilliant, and it had the same humor throughout that their shows have, so it didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was laughing my head off this morning.
Oh my God.
Oh, by the way, I looked up, so Devon Sawa has a bacon number of 2. So he's 2 degrees from Kevin Bacon, which means we're now 3 degrees from Kevin Bacon.
Nice.
Which is not bad.
With Laura Marie Taylor, weren't we 2? I think we were 2.
Oh, okay, let's see.
Technically. But the thing is, I mean, I think Devon Sawa now should have his own, degrees of things. So we're now 1 degree from him.
No, Lauren Marie is also a bacon number of 2. So we're still 3. Yeah, we haven't moved up.
Oh, that's right. They weren't actually into the movie together. Yeah. That's right. She just knew him. That's right. Yeah, you're okay. So we're still 3 away. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Our goal
still
is
got
to
us
be
beat. My brother Kevin still got us beat. He's got a bacon number of 2 because he was in Marie with Sissy Spacek.
That's right. Yeah, so he's right in there. Yeah, well, yeah, that should be our podcast goal, to eventually get our bacon number one closer. By the by the end of this show run, whenever this may be, we need to get. I want to be 1 degree from Kevin Bacon.
Do you know what movie Sissy Spacek? Now we're doing word salad. Sissy Spacek was in with. What movie did she star with Kevin Bacon in? Do you know?
My God, I know it, and for some reason I'm like drawing a blank though.
JFK.
I knew it.
JFK.
That's right.
Yeah.
Damn it. Yes. Okay. I should have known that. But yeah, so yeah, it's like, but yeah, the award show though was so great because of course for our category, with the best word salad, we definitely had fun with it. But the funniest thing was that when Eric added like such a touch that I thought made the thing where when it was I guess Burp Smap one, was he the first one, or was it Barbler got the first?
I think it was the one that I noticed was when Barbler got the second nomination,
right?
And after they announced the winners, he was like, "This is Barbler's second nomination and first win,"
just like they do it, like the category.
It was freaking hilarious.
Like, yeah, I was hysterical, and I'm at work listening to this thing, and I'm just cracking up because it's like such a touch that's so perfect, but yeah, I did not I would have never thought to add that kind of a touch in there. It was so good, but yeah, so great job, ladies, once again on the award show. The 200th episode, and we really are so grateful to have you both in our lives as good friends now. So hopefully we will one day. I think we need to have the podcast collide moment where we get to all hang out, have a drink somewhere.
That'd be a great round table at some point if we ever could do that. But,
yes, we need to talk to them about that. That would be kind of fun. So I guess it's time to move on now to our main feature, which is definitely a movie that's been highly anticipated. I think not only from host fans, but it's gotten a lot of it's a Blumhouse, another Blumhouse, so it's got a lot of notoriety now, and a lot of people have been talking about it. And that is DASHCAM from technically 2021. It's listed as, although I think for us, it came out here, I 2022.
Yeah.
I think right at the beginning of the year, I think it might have first hit places, but I think it
just now became available to rent.
Right, yeah, it's just available to rent, but I could have sworn, I think late, was it in the UK, was it late 2021 where it came out, or did it was done and then they just released it in 2022. It's hard to tell, in all honesty.
Sometimes it's like when it hits the film festival the first time or whatever.
True. And I know it hit the film festival in 2021 because I've heard it's some buzz on it. But so Tim, why don't you go through your usual expertise here with the
what Brian really means like that is, Tim, why don't you mangle the names this time?
Yeah, well, I think people are used to you mangle them in such a loving way. I think people have come to expect it.
So of course, DASHCAM was 2021, directed by Rob Savage, starring Annie Hardy as Annie Hardy, Amara Chadha Patel as Stretch, Angela Inahoro as Angela, Salen Baxter as Salen. I love that she's still Salen.
I know, and someone, of course, we did a project together with Salen, right. So we have 1 degree with Salen.
That's right. James Swanton as the Parasite, Caroline Ward as the Bride, Gemma Moore as Gemma, Mogali Masuku as Angela's mother, Edward Leonard as the groom, and Emma Louise Webb as the flight attendant. So you probably recognize many of those names from Host.
And also a tidbit, it wasn't credited on IMDb, but I read Radina is in there as a paramedic somewhere. It's slightly in the background. I don't know if she's like, it's like a fleeting moment probably where you blink and you miss her kind of moment. And also Haley Bishop does the voice of the airport person in the beginning. When she's when Annie's at the airport, she goes, she makes an announcement over the loudspeaker, and that's supposedly Haley Bishop. So, so all the host people are there, in one way or another. And I will say, I don't know if you recognized Amar Chadha Patel, but he was the third host on the first season of the Hobbycast with Gemma Moore and Carla McGlynn. So right. So he is extremely talented. So I was really glad to see a movie with him in it, because I thought he was an extremely well acted portion of this movie. I think he did he knocked his scenes out of the park in this. And that's, in a found footage movie, it's really I think there's an extra challenge involved, and I thought he was so perfect in what he did. So, but we'll talk about that a little more after Tim reads the synopsis.
Yes. Two friends embark on a horror-fueled road trip and live stream the most terrifying night of their lives. I tell you, I did not know a lot about this movie going in. I assumed from the title that maybe the entire movie took place through a dash cam, which, okay, I'm okay with that. I mean, Host took place entirely through a Zoom window, so I didn't knock it for that, but at the same time, I was actually pleasantly surprised when I realized in the actual movie, it's not confined just to the dash cam. There's a lot of iPhone footage and kind of GoPro-ish type moments where they're out of the car. I mean, there's tons of that. So don't feel like this is like a claustrophobic movie that takes place entirely from a dash cam point of view. It's not. It's much more open than that, which I was actually pleasantly surprised.
I would almost like, one of the movies that reminds me of a lot of is Cloverfield, the original Cloverfield, where it's like a big scope of a ground it covers, and it's like, you're really along for the ride with these people, but in a way that you don't feel like, oh, look, it's found footage. They're editing this piece together, and it's like, it's definitely different. And in fact, it's not so much found footage as if you're basically watching a live stream is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not even found footage. It's not like, oh, we found these tapes.
Right.
Here is their story. No, you're watching, basically, you start this movie as if you've just logged in to YouTube or whatever video channel you watch. And you're watching Annie's is the main character. It's her show, her live stream. And what's funny is it's like, so you get like literally, I watched this twice, and this is a movie where probably to get everything, you probably need to watch it like 50 times because while most of the movie goes, there's scenes where she's recording but not streaming yet. I guess her stream cuts in and out, which is a very interesting plot point. I think it makes it kind of interesting to watch the chat react as the audience sees things that they don't, so that they're kind of like along with it from a different aspect. But and so it's like basically it's her live show that you're watching, and so that's where it's I think which is a little unique compared to most of the found footage movies, which are usually literally found footage.
Right, and we've seen live stream perspectives before. Like I can't think of any like right off the top of my head, but I've seen found footage that was in that. A lot of those that are like ghost hunters or whatever,
right?
Streaming a show like that Ganjiam Asylum.
Oh yeah, Ganjiam, yeah.
So that piece, while it has been done before, I will tell you, I was really impressed with the chat stuff because as an IT guy, I'm always very hypercritical of like any kind of IT stuff in movies, like web searches. Like I hate when they like do a web search and then like the page just pops up. They don't even click a link. Like the page just pops up of the exact thing they were searching for. That kind of stuff, those shortcuts they take. And I'm going, as an IT guy, I'm just kind of, it's like grating on my nerves. This one had probably the most realistic chat I've ever seen in a movie. I swear it looked so real. Like a lot of times when movies do this kind of fake like comment sections, it doesn't ring true, and I don't. It's hard to pinpoint exactly why not, but we've watched enough live shows, we've been in enough chat rooms, we kind of know what's authentic. This actually felt real to me because there was like down to like common misspellings were in there.
Yeah.
There were always the funny one. The funniest one that I kept laughing every time I saw it because it's so dead on true is like some horrible thing is happening to this woman. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And then there's always that one person that goes, "Hello from Albuquerque," or
yeah. Well, yeah, that I thought was great. And the person that always goes, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah,
like I'm back or whatever. Like that self-importance that everyone feels like they're in the chat.
Yes,
like the whole chat stopped until they got back in.
Yes,
like there was that little like icon, and I'm like, wow, they really. I'm like, you're right. I thought that was one of the most brilliant pieces that he did, and he worked on that. Because like we know, we've talked to Jed, who was one of the writers. It was Jed. Gemma Hurley and Rob Savage wrote it again. Same writers as Host. So we know, and Jed talked about their process. So we know how dedicated they are to the realism and how every detail that you see has been well thought out and scripted.
Yes.
To make it look so random. But yet they have such a talent for that. Like, I don't think many people would have pulled this movie off the way they did.
Well, it sounds
100%.
On paper it sounds easy. Oh, I just need to make a chat room for this scene or whatever. But I mean, I'm talking a good portion of this movie has chat.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to kind of keep focus on what's going on the screen and then the chat.
Right. Yeah. So
at the same time.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to ask you about, Brian. I was like, did you find it distracting? Like, I personally didn't find it distracting because I thought it was so well done that it added a lot to the, like, it was making me laugh. Like, even during some of those horrific scenes, I was like dying laughing at some of the chat comments because it was the stuff like you always know, like the people that are complete assholes, the people that are complete unsympathetic to violence,
the clueless people, the one that says, "Oh, this is fake." Oh,
they're
guys,
all
stop falling
in.
for it.
Like, they're all in there. Like, every chat
everyone's
room personality.
represented.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, why it didn't distract me, I think, is because, like you said earlier, you and I have been in a million of these chats. I mean, think about last drive-in alone. You're watching a movie and you're also tweeting. Yeah. So it's like, you're kind of looking at two things, just a little different. It's not on the same screen. So yeah, the distraction level to me, no. We're in a world now where if you can't do two things at once, you're not really going to get very far because that's the way the world works. People are constantly on their phone doing something else at the same time. And, there's that whole adage that, well, you can't concentrate on both. Well, maybe that's true, but it feels comfortable. Like, it doesn't feel uncomfortable as it may have felt 15 years ago.
It drives Olivia crazy because I have to multitask. Like, when I'm watching a movie, I kind of have to have, and this is terrible to say because I feel like I'm like giving away the fact that I'm not completely 100% focused. But when I'm watching a movie, I like to have some kind of, and I'm not saying something that I have to concentrate on. It's like something mindless. Like, I've got a coloring app on my iPad that I kind of do while I'm watching movies sometimes, just because I need that. I don't know what you call it. I need that, I need that passive thing to be doing while I'm doing the other thing. Because if I don't, I get super restless.
Well, yeah, same with me. I think, and that's just the way the world is now. I think because you were so used to like constant content. Yeah. So it's like, one piece of content is just not enough no matter what. It's like really hard to sometimes just sit and relax and sometimes watch a movie without like that thought. And for me, I'm always watching a movie. I have my phone with me because constantly I'll look up. I'll say, oh, where was he from? Boom, 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 boom. Oh, yeah, he was in that movie. Or if I see a scene in a movie, I'm like, oh, where was that filmed? I'll pop on IMDb. Yeah. It's like, so I was like, yeah, I believe me. I think a lot of people like that. They may not all admit it, but I mean, a lot of people are probably constantly doing two things at once. But yeah, so I think, as of that aspect of it, that didn't faze me in the slightest. In fact, it like only enhanced the movie for me because it's something it seemed very natural and normal to me. And I think so. I mean, I don't want to give away too much of the plot because as usual, most found footage movies, they build up to something, and he does such a great job of really slowly revealing stuff, and there's a lot of shocking ways he does it. So I don't want to give too much away, but I will say a couple things. Like, so what I think was very interesting about this movie, I found the main character, who is presented as the so-called like heroine or whatever you want to. Not very likable at all. No, in fact, she's downright despicable.
She's the typical ugly American. I think that's kind of what they were going for.
I mean, total Karen in a lot of ways, and like we're always just trying to cause trouble. I mean, in this state, they make her a total like Trumper in it. And, and she's one of those conspiracy theorists of, COVID's fake.
Anti-vax, anti-mask.
Yeah. Anti-everything, and it totally like pissing people off that believe, that want to, protect themselves for COVID and all. She's just basically antagonizing them, causing trouble, nothing but. So she's not likable in it. Like I still to watching it, like I still hated her throughout the movie. Yet at the same time, in the strangest way, she's funny as hell, and it's like, I mean. Like alone, I will recommend you stay till the very end of these credits because she literally wraps the entire credits.
Yeah, I'll have to say something about that because I think this movie is going to be super polarizing. I've already seen reviews where people said they hated the movie because they could not stand the main character, and she's. I mean, for to Annie Hardy's credit, she's supposed to be that way. So I mean, she's just doing a brilliant job.
She is perfect.
Yeah,
whatever she was trying for, she nailed 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
not even a flaw.
Any actor that's making you physically hate them is doing their job well. So yeah. I don't fault anybody for that. But I think going into it, it is a very dislikable character, and you typically don't want your hero to be dislikable. So it's a risk. But I found with this character, as much as I despised her and as much as she was annoying, like you said, number one, she's hilarious. She's funny. Yeah. She's always saying really crude, out of the blue remarks. I think what helped me not feel that dislike, at least from an emotional level, even though I felt it at an intellectual level, is that she's so unpredictable. Right. And it kept you engaged because you didn't know what the hell she was going to do next. I mean, she was so bonkers, off the wall, crazy that it really, it kept me captivated because I was like, I don't know what she's going to do next, which means I don't know where the movie's going next, which means I'm captivated because this is completely unpredictable. And I will say, without giving any of the plot away, the plot is insane. I still don't completely understand what was going on. Yeah,
and I don't think you're supposed to. Knowing the way we've learned from Jed and from them talking online, they never want you to know everything, no matter what, and that's fine. And I love that because you don't need to know everything to enjoy this movie. I think you'll enjoy it anyway if you just let yourself enjoy it. But one of the things you said, it was interesting too about the fact that mostly in the found footage movies, right? Dude, the main person is usually the one that's stable. And all the crazy stuff is happening around her. In this, all the crazy stuff is happening around her, and she's matching the crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like double dose of crazy. In fact, I saw one review that said it was almost like it was like too in your face so much. It was so happening all the time that it turned this particular viewer off. To me, that's what I loved about it. It was like, you didn't know where to look next. You didn't know what was happening. Yet I found myself enjoying every second of it.
Yeah,
and so that's hard to do when you do all that crazy at once.
Yeah, that's why I think it's going to be a polarizing movie because you're either going to embrace that or it's going to turn you off. And I don't fault the people that it turns off because it's a lot. It's a lot of character to take in. There's a lot of very fast, very chaotic sequences. Some people just don't like that. I mean, it's very disorienting and you don't know what's going on. And some people that just irritates them. To me, I don't mind it. I thought it was cool because in my back of my mind, I'm even thinking, well, how did they film that? Because that was a really cool sequence. And how did they, that looks like one continuous shot. Like, how did they do that? So I was kind of thinking from a filmmaking side, not that I'm a filmmaker, but I like movies to the point that I like to know how they're made. So it was fascinating to me just from that standpoint going. And the other thing I'll say about that is, again, it seems easy looking at it from the comfort of your living room to say, oh, well, they just went out in the woods and they shot this and this and this and this. You try to make like a demon attack or something. I'm just giving a random example. Make it look real. Like take your iPhone and go outside and make it look like a demon attacked you and then flew up in the air or something. This is not stuff that happened in the movie. I'm just talking about just a random example. But a demon attacked you, flew up in the air, and then you fell off a cliff into a lake. And do that in one shot. It's not as easy as you think it is, I guarantee.
Yeah, and make it look like it was not just like filmed from afar, but from the person who was just holding the camera. It's like there's a lot of stuff to do. And I think one of the amazing parts he manages to capture like some great horror stuff. There was some like flat out creepy imagery going on there. There was some like a number of jump scares and like jump scares that you wouldn't expect, like something so simple, which I don't want to go into because I don't want to blow the jump scare for somebody else, but just something that like would happen due to a certain situation, but yet since it didn't happen yet, you don't expect it, and then boom, it happens. And it's like, there's like, there really is like every time you think there's going to be a lull in the movie, it elevates and starts up again, and then even more than the last time. So it literally is relentless was the word that person used. I just thought of it now. That's what they said. Relentless this movie is. And for a found footage movie to be relentless, usually it's like slow tease. Slow tease, bigger tease, bigger tease, bigger tease, and boom, big ending. This movie is like you take every ending of a found footage movie and like put it together and then put it through the whole movie, and that's kind of what this is.
Yeah,
constant
it's almost like
it's
almost like a reverse of found footage. Like found footage is typically an hour of slow build up and 30 minutes max.
Yeah,
more like 20 to 15 minutes of action. This is like 15 to 20 minutes of build up, and then the rest of the entire movie is the ending. It's just crazy.
Right, and that's why when I first saw Cloverfield, kind of broke that mold, and I loved it so much. And I still got that's why I got that same thing with the Cloverfield vibe with this, because it's like here's you taking the found footage formula, turning it flip upside down and putting it to full speed ahead, and like basically he used the found footage thing, but it didn't limit him to the narrative at all. He's like, here's what I want to happen, and I'm gonna find a way to show it through the lens of an iPhone or a DASHCAM or a whatever, or a GoPro, whatever device at the time that was being used. So it's like he didn't ever like jip a scene because of that, you never felt like cheated out of a scene what you want to happen. And there were some flat out scenes where it's so close and you're trying to figure out what's going on, but it was okay because you eventually were revealed to see what happened. So you really got put in the middle of it, more unlike many movies would do.
Yeah, I wonder. I was kind of wondering while I was watching it if the lead character being so extra, as my kids would say, her being so extra, does it ultimately hurt the movie in that it's going to polarize so many people and turn so many people off, or is it absolutely necessary for the movie because you need somebody to match the intensity of the rest of the film? I mean, personally, I fall towards the latter. Like, I mean, there's maybe some aspects of her personality that could have been dialed back a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
But especially with the political stuff, I think kind of some people just instantly shut down when things start getting political. They're going to instantly shut down. They're out of the movie. They're done. If you don't have kind of that open mind. So I could see where that maybe could have been dialed back a little bit. She still could have been crazy. She still could have been unpredictable without the kind of ugly American piece of it. But and anti-vax and all that stuff, possibly. But I don't know. It's hard to say. It's something. It's interesting to think about. I would. It's one of those things you guys are going to have to watch it for yourself and just decide like which side of the fence you fall on. Now, I will say, I went into this with very low expectations, not because I had any doubt in Rob Savage, Jed Shepard, all those guys, because we've talked to them before and they're absolutely great people, and I knew the talent was there. But it's always hard to follow up a phenomenon like Host was. I mean, this is inevitable. It's going to be almost impossible to live up to that. So I didn't expect this. I didn't expect to enjoy this as much as I did. I thought, okay, it's going to be another kind of gimmick. I hate to say gimmick because it sounds cheap, because I mean the quote unquote gimmicks of Host was brilliant, and this one is pretty brilliant as well. But just for lack of a better term, I thought, okay, it'll be this Dashcam gimmick, and then it'll be okay. I'm prepared to be ultimately let down, but I wasn't. And maybe because I went in with low expectations, but I really had a great time with this. Now, it's not Host. It's not hitting at the same cultural point as Host at just the right time with just the right impact. In fact, I guess, I mean, in some ways it felt a tad dated only because of the masking and the vaccination stuff. And now everybody's kind of moved past all that. Right.
Yeah, it's like a little bit behind, almost a little bit behind the times, but it's okay because it's still recent enough that you can get back into that mindset.
So it's not going to live up to Host in that aspect of it, but in terms of just giving me an enjoyable movie that I had a great time watching, and I thought was extremely interesting because of that character, just completely interesting. I don't know how else to say it. And the just total authenticity of the internet chat room stuff, which I absolutely love. I think those two things combined, especially, and there's also a set piece which I won't reveal that is right up me and Brian's alley. So
yeah.
I really,
Oh yeah.
I really
And
appreciate
right away,
it.
I'm like, I want to find out which one, where it exactly is.
Yeah.
I was gonna message Jed. I want to find out where that was.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure if we ask one of our other friends, that probably would look at that scene as dark as it is, so we'd go right away. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah. We have
But,
experts in the field that would know the
yeah.
answer to that. So
we can get
all that combined, I just had a great time with this one. A better time than I expected, I read some negative reviews of it. To be quite honest, there's a lot of negative reviews about it out there, and like I said, it's a polarizing movie. I get it. I totally get the negative reviews, but for me personally, I had a blast with it. I thought it was cool. I thought it had a lot of unique things going on. I thought that in the hands of lesser filmmakers, I think this would have been forgettable / just derivative dumb. In the hands of these filmmakers, I thought they did something. I thought it was really clever and unique.
Yeah, I'll just finish up quick. I'll reiterate those points. Actually, of course, 100%. And also, what I think I found myself. I like when a movie kind of challenges my emotions a lot. And what this one did is like, so because the lead character was so off the top crazy and extremely unlikable, I found myself not rooting almost against her, but wanting to see more of her at the same time. Like, because I wanted to see what she was going to do. And there's parts of the movie where she kind of not in it for a few minutes, and like at a time. And kind of focuses on Amar Chadha Patel's character in sequences and some other characters a little bit, which is even more kind of interesting that that like Rob Savage took the bold step of like, okay, we're gonna take our main character, which has been the focus of 100% of the movie to this point, and we're gonna take her out of it for a few minutes, kind of thing. Very interesting, bold step, but it worked because like I don't even think I caught it as much as I did the second time. And two, I want to just obviously Annie Hardy was great in it, but also Amar Chadha Patel was in it. Was great in it. I loved seeing Gemma Moore in there, even though she was only a brief role. I mean, more than the other people. Well, her and Salen had the more out of the host crew. They definitely had the most pieces in it, and I love that how Gemma Moore's character was so obviously super COVID safe and everything, and the exact opposite of the other one. So they had the friction right in the beginning, which was great. But yeah, there's something about it. Like when you first see Gemma Moore come on, there's like this kind of like almost warmth, like, oh, it's like it's the host family starting to get together again, kind of thing. Yeah. And I just kind of like, I'm like, right there, if you needed a reminder that you were in good hands, seeing Gemma come on, I'm like, okay, you know what, they're really in good hands now, because you got your host connection once again. But yeah, overall, I just think you're right. I think there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna dislike this movie for a couple of reasons we said, but you know what though, I will say, don't read the reviews. If you're one of these people that read reviews, see one bad review, say, oh, that's it, I don't want. Give it a chance. Trust me, definitely watch this movie, because there's so much to enjoy in it at the same time, and let it challenge you, let it annoy you a little bit, because it trust me, if there's anything we know now after 2 movies with Rob, Jed, Gemma Hurley writing a movie together, there's going to be a whole mix of things in there. There's going to be characters you don't like in it, but you just accept it because it's all part of the thing. Everything they do is 100% intentional.
Yeah,
and exactly. I love that. And it's now the 2 movies they've shown you that they could do that. So pretty much that group gets together, I will watch everything that they get, because I everything they put. I don't care. Even if it was ROTTENTAIL 2, I'd find a way to watch that.
I'd probably still watch it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, well, they'd probably make it like
it'd actually be good,
Citizen Kane.
Yeah,
it'd be like Citizen Kane.
It'd actually
level.
be good.
Yeah.
All right.
But definitely, I definitely do a high recommend for DASHCAM. I would love, hopefully everyone gets to see this and enjoy it.
All right, Brandon, so what did you have for our beer pairing?
So I don't know how. This was a fluke of all flukes that I found this beer. Literally, get this, DASHCAM Famous is the name of the beer, and it's from Bad Shepherd Beer Company. So there's even like a little Jed Shepherd reference in there.
That's
our good
cool.
friend Jed Shepherd. Yeah, and that's in Charleston, West Virginia. 7%. All I got out of it was that it was a milkshake IPA with blueberries. But but I don't know, something about a milkshake IPA with blueberries sounds exactly like goes. It's a little bit of crazy kind of beer, kind of crazy for the main character. So it all blends together, perfect symmetry. That whole
it was a great beer
pairing. Yeah. So
all right, so we have a good fan topic food question. This one's gonna be tough for me because I haven't had time to think about this one. And this was by our good buddy John Eversole, and it says, if you could put yourself in any movie as an existing role or one you create, what would it be and what would your role be?
okay, so I literally looked at. I had a little bit more time to think about it, but I tell you, and I'm honest with you now, really wasn't sure of what I was gonna put. I was thinking maybe I'll just do a joke answer like, oh, I'll be this person because he got to be with so and so on screen, kind of. But I think I want to. It's kind of both. It's like a mix. I want to play young Tom Atkins in a Tom Atkins biopic.
Yes. Oh, that'd be awesome.
How awesome would that be? Because Tom Atkins is the man.
Yeah, he is the man.
Right?
You would be getting ladies like crazy.
Yes. Oh, that, and I will actually, just another one popped in my head. Not that I would be able to play him in it, but I'd love to play somewhere in it. But if they ever made a Joe Bob biopic, I'd like to be somewhere in there.
Yes.
You know.
No, my gut reaction is I would love to play a slasher killer. I would love to be Michael Myers or a Jason or somebody like that. I don't think I have the physical build for it because those guys are usually like huge, and so I like muscular, which I am not. So I don't know if I could pull that off, but I've always.
I see you more like a Mark Duplass in Creep.
Yeah, yeah. I'd love to play I'd love to play a villain. I'd love to play the bad guy. I'd love to play a serial killer. Anything like that, like the villain thing, like that's the role I'd be drawn to. The alternate to that would be comedy. I would love to do comedy stuff. Like me and my brother get together and do characters and stuff. Like I think I could pull off some comedy stuff if the script was right, but or if I could even act, which I can't. So this is all very speculative at this point. Yeah. But yeah, like gut role. Now, if it had to be an existing role, if it's one I created, it would be like just some kind of killer or that kind of thing. If it was an existing role, that'd be hard because the killers and stuff I idolize on screen, I would never in a million years think that I could do even a tenth of their performance. So it'd be very hard for me to say, I want to play Hannibal Lecter. Like I don't think I could even come close to doing anything new with that character. So without being in theater, without being an actor, I would just have to go with something I created, and it would be some kind of villain.
I could kind of see you as like more the younger Michael Myers, like from the first Halloween when he was unmasked. Remember that, like that when he had that young, like kind of like baby face look about him, like for the brief 2 seconds you see him, like that little shock. I could see you
like,
that.
It'd be like a dad bod Michael Myers.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, but back in the 70s, people were different. Now with the dad bods are in, you could easily, I think you got that down, Tim. You got it down.
So yeah, that one's tough.
I still like that question. That was a good one, John Eversole. I like that one.
Now, our brother is in theater, so he's an actual actor. Like he can actually act. So
I know he could actually probably make this happen. Whatever he says.
Like I always say, Kevin could have been on Saturday Night Live if he'd ever been part of the Groundlings and ever made it to New York City. Like I honestly believe he could have been on Saturday Night Live.
He still should be in there. He could probably do it if he walked on there.
But so he would be he'd be a better person to answer this because I think from an actor's point of view, he'd be able to tell you instantly what roles he could and couldn't do. But for me, as not have any acting talent whatsoever, it's pretty tough. But I do like the bad guys. I like the bad roles. I think I
see you in a good Stephen King.
Yeah.
A portrayal of a movie or like one of the Mike Flanagan type of things. Like
I've auditioned for one play in my life. It was a play that my brother was in, and he auditioned, and they needed more people. So I went to the audition with Kevin, and they basically pulled me out of the audience and were like, "Hey, can you audition as well?" Now I was young at this time. I was a kid. I was like 14, and the role called for me to cuss, like bad cuss. Like dropping some F-bombs. Well, at that time, I had never cussed. Like ever. Like I didn't cuss. Like my mom would have freaking just like ripped me a new one if I ever said a bad word. So I didn't cuss, and I had to get up there in front of all these people, which I was already terrified. Had no acting experience, and then I had to like drop these F-bombs in front of everybody, and it was a complete disaster. Obviously,
That's
I didn't
funny.
get the role. Thank
Poor
God.
Tim.
But that's the only play I've ever auditioned for. So, and that was against my will.
Yeah, I was in 2 plays ever. One was I was a Munchkin in Wizard of Oz, and then something I did in kindergarten. That was bad. That was it. Where it was like we were like, it was an original play that the teacher wrote on some spaceship.
Yeah, I guess I'll take that back. I was in one other play in kindergarten. I did play Baby Bear and Three Little Bears.
Yeah, that's a good role I could see for you, Tim.
Yeah.
Not now because you're taller,
Yeah.
but you know,
Now,
back then.
now I have to be Daddy Bear. But
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that was a good question, John. That was fun.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, guys. So we will be back here next week. We're getting very close to our summer slaycation, which I'm really excited for. I got to start watching those movies, by the way.
Oh yeah, me too.
Trying to kind of get the schedule ironed out because it's tough. Because the way we're going to try to probably do like a 9-week summer slaycation. Oh, we wanted to announce it this week, right? We're going to announce.
We were.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to announce what our summer staycation is. So I'm super excited for this. I don't know how excited you guys will be for it, but if you're a movie lover, I think you should be excited. We are doing the entire Universal Monsters catalog. We're doing Dracula.
Yes.
We're doing Frankenstein. We're doing Wolfman. We're doing Creature from the Black Lagoon, and we're doing The Invisible Man
And the Mummy.
and the Mummy.
Yeah, so all of them.
All of them. All the big ones.
The big
and
main ones.
we're not doing that. I think we made a decision to not do the Abbott and Costello, only because they're more, they're really more comedy, and plus we already have enough movies that it's already going to be a 9-week summer vacation. So we're trying to break these down because it's tough. Because if you're, we're trying not to split it over more than 2 weeks each series, but at the same time, like the way it's kind of falling, like we may have a week that's like, it was getting to the point where we might have a week where we had to do 5 movies, which is not fair. So we're still kind of ironing out the schedule, but I think with 9 weeks, I think we're going to be able to pull it off.
Yeah, I think it'll be. Yeah, it should be easier.
Yeah,
and it's going to start a little later. It's like starting right in the end of June. I think I forgot. We have to. I think it's like the last week of June is when you guys will hear that episode. Or it might even be the first week of July. I'm not even sure, but it's like late. We're starting it a little later, so we could go through the whole summer.
Yeah, and I will say if you guys do not have those great Blu-ray sets of the Universal Monsters, they have one for Dracula, one for Frankenstein, one for Wolfman, one for Mummy, and one for Invisible Man, and one for Creature. I've got all of them. They're very inexpensive. A lot of times you could find them for $20 or less, which is just insane on Amazon. They've been putting them on sale constantly, and they are packed with just wonderful, wonderful audio commentaries by film historians, and they are just so much fun. Like the commentaries, I've absolutely loved. The movies look spectacular on Blu-ray because black and white just looks great on Blu-ray. So if you haven't picked up those Universal Monster set, pick some of them up and kind of watch along with us if you don't have them already. But there's some really good.
You know what we'll do is maybe we'll make sure we lay out the schedule so you can be prepared. Once we do have it ironed out, we'll leave it out there so you know what you need to watch to catch up with us.
And those are kind of hard to find streaming sometimes. Like I was just looking for Dracula and Frankenstein. Those are all like just rental only, the original ones. So really those Blu-ray sets are the best way to have access to all. And then if you start getting to some of the weirder sequels, like Werewolf of London and stuff like that, like those are probably even harder to find. I'm looking at Werewolf of London 1935. That one's again rental only. So those Blu-ray sets are really the best way to be able to watch those along with us. But
Plus, you should have them in your collection anyway.
You should. They're fantastic sets, and the movies are just. Those movies I could watch over and over and over again and never get tired of them. And they're usually short.
Yeah, and I haven't seen many of them in a long time, so I'm really excited to rewatch. So
yeah, I think I went through. I don't think I've been through my Creature set. I've not been through my Invisible Man set. I think I have done about half of the Mummy, and I did all of Dracula, all of Frankenstein, all of Wolfman. So I've seen. Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be like half new for me and half old, but I don't mind because it's been a couple years since I've been through them. So I think I'm just really super excited for this summer slaycation because these movies are near and dear to my heart. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yes, it will be fun.
All right, guys. Well, stay out of those dash cams, and we will see you here soon.
See ya.